Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So there have been some developments in the Jacob Blake case, and what I'm going to do is play a little bit of this audio from a press conference, read a few excerpts, and then I'm going to provide my commentary. And I will post this article in the description box so that you all can check it out.
Today, there's a very narrow decision that must be made. And so I will be announcing today the question of whether the District Attorney's Office, in its professional judgment, feels that there is sufficient admissible evidence to convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that Officer Shesky or any of the other Kenosha officers shot Jacob Blake unlawfully or committed any other offense. That's the task. It's a narrow task today. It's a legal and professional task. And it is my decision now that I announce today before you that no Kenosha law enforcement officer in this case will be charged with any criminal offense based on the facts and the laws as I will describe them to you now. So it is our decision that no charge will be filed. I'm going to also tell you, just because I think it is important, that no charge will be filed against Jacob Blake in regards to this incident as well. For many of the same reasons, in terms of an overall discussion about this case, that is not something that the District Attorney's Office intends to pursue.
Okay, so that was the announcement. There's more. That particular audio that you heard, that's just a few excerpts. I'm sure it goes on much longer and goes into much detail. So what I'm going to do is read from this article and come back with some commentary. So it says the police, first of all, before I do that, let me just provide some background. So this is a situation that occurred. This brother was walking away from the police. He was trying to get into his vehicle. The police officer fired upon this brother, shooting him multiple times. And the brother ended up being paralyzed from the waist down. So for the rest of his life, more likely than not, this brother will not be able to walk. This brother was not attacking the police. He was walking away from the police. And there's some kind of dispute whether or not he was armed. They say that he had a knife near him and all that kind of stuff. But in the video, you don't see him with a knife in his hand. You don't see him moving in a direction towards the police with a knife. So let me just read from this article. It says that the police officers involved in the shooting of Jacob Blake, which touched off days of civil unrest last summer in Wisconsin, will not face any criminal charges, authorities said Tuesday. Blake, who is black, was struck by 7 bullets at close range August 23rd as he walked away from Kenosha police officers who had answered a domestic disturbance call. And it goes on to say that the district attorney told reporters that the officers have a strong case for self-defense. If you don't believe that you can prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt, you have an ethical obligation not to issue charges. That's what the prosecutor said. And it goes on to say that the Blake family's attorney, Ben Crump, said that the prosecution, the district attorney wrongfully denied the community its chance to try the facts. It says, we are immensely disappointed in Kenosha District Attorney's decision not to charge the officers involved in this horrific shooting. And they went on to say, we feel this decision failed not only Jacob and his family, but the community that protested and demanded justice. And also, I want to let you know that I will post a link to the video as well of the shooting so that you all can look at it for yourself and judge it for yourself. And it says that, this district attorney pleaded for peace. He said, can moments of tragedy like this be an opportunity to build things? This article says that the police responded to a call of a domestic incident. It goes on to say that the officers were not equipped with body cameras. A bystander captured the confrontation, which appeared to show Jacob Blake walking away and about to get into his vehicle on the driver's side. And the state prosecution said that Blake was near a knife when he was shot. The knife was found in the footwell of the vehicle, but he was shot outside of the vehicle. He wasn't shot while in the, from what I recall of the tape, he wasn't shot when he was in the vehicle. He was shot outside of the vehicle. So it says this, of course, this is the police side of the story or the prosecution side of the story. They say multiple officers tried to grab his arms and tried to secure him so he could be cuffed. Officers were trying to, so and then it goes on to say that he admits at one point officers were trying to cuff him, but I was able to get up. Yeah, and it goes on to say that the officers had no choice but to arrest Blake and prevent him from leaving the car with the children of LaQuisha Booker, who has 3 children with him. Once the officers learned that there was a warrant for Blake's arrest, his arrest became a paramount priority. And, they went on to say that it's incontrovertible that Blake had a knife in his hand when the incident occurred, and it admitted to getting a knife. It goes, the officer knows that an armed man with a felony warrant who just forcefully resisted arrest appears to be about to flee in a disputed vehicle, and there's at least one child in the back. Those are all the facts that the officer was, has in the context of a domestic abuse case at this point, and has decided what to do next. And they also mentioned the difficulty in trying to get certain testimony. So I'm not going to read everything that's here. Let me just try to see what the attorneys... Because I know that the attorneys disputed that claim about the weapon and all that stuff. Just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, because I know that the attorney said something about that. About that knife issue. Just bear with me 1 second. Yeah, so I know just in general, I can't find the section, but I know in general the attorneys for the Jacob Blake family and Jacob Blake, they say that, he didn't have the knife on him at the time. He didn't have the knife when the police fired upon him, so they dispute what he's saying. And then there's the governor issued a statement as well. It says he said that Jacob's life has forever been changed, and his kid witnessed violence that no kid should ever see, experience human trauma no kid should ever endure, all while the world watched. And yet, when presented with the opportunity to rise to this moment and this movement and take action to provide meaningful, common sense reform, um, to enhance accountability and promote transparency in policing, and our state elected officials took no action. Um, and also, it's pointed out that that there were protests, and then you had this situation involving Kyle Rittenhouse, who killed two protesters at one of those protests in Kenosha around this issue of Jacob Blake. So those are the developments in the case. It's just unfortunate that you had a situation where this brother was shot and now he's paralyzed for the rest of his life, shot in front of his children, and no action was taken. These officers are free to live their life while this brother is paralyzed for the rest of his life. And it's just unfortunate that something like this would happen. And I understand, like, there is a need for people to contact the police in certain circumstances, especially if children are in jeopardy. It's unclear whether or not children were in fact in jeopardy in this situation. Um, I just know that those police did not have to shoot that brother. He was not moving towards them with a knife. He wasn't attacking them with a knife. He didn't even have a knife in his hand at the time when he was shot, from what I can recall and from what I remember from the videotape. So, yeah, it's just another example where you don't have justice in another one of these cases. We saw what happened with Breonna Taylor, and so many other cases where black people are killed at the hands of the police, and there is no justice for black people. And something has to be done about this. It's just a shame that you have another situation like this. So tell me what you all think about this. Please rate, comment, subscribe, like the video, share the video, hit that notification bell so that you'll know when I post new content on here. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Have a great day.